Here's one thing which you ought to keep in unyielding consideration. The thing which we refer to as truth has no concern whatsoever about your comfort, let alone your willingness to accept it. And the reason behind this is perhaps too simple. You see, truth is absolute. The quality and nature of absoluteness forms the basis of reality, universally speaking. So, despite the point of view held in perception, the fundamental aspect of reality cannot be shaped by paradigm. That's to say, the 3-foot tree will be seen as tall by the 2-foot man, but relatively short within the experience of the 7-foot man, for instance. And so, both will most likely accept what they see as truth, and perhaps even argue about who's correct with regard to the height of the tree. But even this being the case, the reality of the tree remains at 3 feet. Until, of course, evolution plays its part and then the tree becomes the tallest of them all. But nevertheless, a true expression of reality which is not dependent on perception. So the fact will always remain. Truth is king. And if we don't humble ourselves before it, most people will suffer, as we see most people suffering. And most people are not suffering from reality. They are suffering from unreality, which they confuse to be reality. And when I say unreality, I'm referring to the manufactured reality, to the veil which is placed before the people, making them believe that life is a certain way. The thing with us humans, evolutionary beings, anything is possible. We can make life to be whatever we want it to be, but for most of us, we don't know that. And so the people that know that, the people which in my own view are greed driven, use that against the people, because that ensures them maintaining a position of power, which is really force. Because true power is not forced. True power is fair to all. Power is in nature, and we don't live according to the laws of nature as far as we human beings are concerned. The point for us is to evolve. And so when we devolve by way of the way that we live as life, we commit a great injustice to the coming generations. We are constricted internally because, again, of the veil that has been put in front of us. We are mentally trapped. We confuse lies for truth, and in so doing, we dispel the possibility of experiencing the truth of things. In fact, we straight up reject truth nowadays because it threatens our individual reality, which is not truly reality. It's just the way we've come to shape our experience. And one thing we must keep in consideration is the fact that experience for us is not rigid, at least not as rigid as we would like to believe. And again, it's cyclical. That's to say, there's for example, there's certain things that you do on a day-to-day basis which maintains that the sense of being yourself and living within your reality. And so people have these desires of change and experiencing themselves different, and think that the possibility of such a reality exists in attaining certain things. And so they ought to get disappointed when they do attain those things, but reality, the sense of being, is still the same. It's still empty. It's because whatever they conceptualized is not rooted in reality. It's rooted in unreality, the reality which we have been sold, what we view as life, which is happening outside of us, when the actual fact is we are life, and all that happens within us. All that is experienced within us. And depending on the structure of our perception, the experience will be experienced accordingly. So that's to say, you determine the flavor of your own experience. But of course, because of this weaponized reality, which is strongly tied to the concept of society, we rarely get to see what life can be. Because life is apparently set in stone. And most of us lack the courage to live beyond that limitation, because we don't want to be alone. And that's one more thing which was used against us. We are naturally social creatures. We want to be with other people. Naturally, we are inclined to love other people. And so, because of our distorted perception, the love also gets distorted. It's embraced in a toxic way. It's induced with fear. Fear, by the way, fear is not really real. Fear is the main foundation for the construct of unreality, of falseness, and ultimately false views. But for us now, for my generation in particular, I'd say we have a very strong chance of breaking the chains, so to speak. Because unlike our predecessors, fear was induced physically. And so they knew if they defied their oppressors, they would be subjugated to pain. And who wants to feel pain? And so the fear was instilled, and fear is like a seed. And so, like any seed, when it grows, it finds many expressions. But the characteristic of fear which stands out is the sense of lack. Hence, attachment becomes the byproduct of it. We attach to things that are familiar to us. And we fear what's unknown, which contributes to the process of devolving, as opposed to evolving, because to evolve is to jump head first into the unknown, because nothing can ever be truly known. Because when you come to the conclusion of knowing, then unconsciously you tell your mind that you don't need to learn anymore. And so you become trapped in the accumulation which forms your personality, the accumulation of experience, which is all happening mentally. And so in that way, your mind becomes a prison. How unfortunate is that? Especially considering the fact that it's so needless and absolutely unnecessary. But of course, if you tell people such things, you scare them. Truth is seen as intimidating, as threatening, because of condition. If we don't know it, we don't want it, because it's dangerous. We don't know what it's capable of, even though it's what we need. And so that's a very sad reality. And it cannot end well, not only for us humans, but for all life on the planet. So hear me, and hear me now. You are free unless you think you are not. And there's this saying, it's a biblical saying, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not really big on the Bible. I've probably read it once in my life. Didn't even finish the verse. I don't even feel bad. But there's this idea, there's this notion that the truth will set you free, and there is truth in that, although I feel as though it's incomplete as far as the individual experience is concerned, especially for someone who is accustomed to condition. Someone who is conditional. Someone who is conditional in all that they do, even in love, which is the biggest form of condition, in my opinion. But the point is, the truth will set you free, but it won't be an easy task, because it will require you to detach from the way of attachment, and it's all you know. And so it will be painful to a degree, but if you can bear that pain, it will teach you the greatest lessons, because pain is a great teacher. Pain is not a bad thing. I mean, you lift weights. It's painful, but you gain more than you lose. In fact, you don't lose anything. The only thing that you lose is weakness. So I guess you will have to set your priorities straight. Determine what really matters. Not because of what you heard from anyone, but concluding within your own being, because the intelligence, which is fundamentally your core being, knows what's needed. And so if you embody the presence, that is the happening of being, that is always seeing and observing, always in the moment, then the things which are not you will fall to the wayside. They will lose appeal, because now the mind is opened to new experiences and ultimately a new reality. That being said, my beautiful friend, I trust that you found value in this. I don't know when you are seeing this, but I've come to learn that I'm ahead of my time. So when you do see this, I trust that it will serve your growth and ultimately the world. By the way, kindly subscribe to this channel so that it can grow and reach a wider audience, perhaps help more people. That's if they are open to truth, because all that I do is truth. People deserve no less. And if everyone were to adopt such a mentality, then I know for a fact the world would be a better place. And with that being said, until next time, cheers. And oh, love and infinite light.